Chapter 1, Equations, Inequalities, and Mathematical Modeling. Section 1, we're going to start looking at graphs of the equations and some different things that we can do and identify. Part 1, what we're going to look at is determining solution points. So how do you determine if a point such as 2, 13 is a solution for the equation y equals 10x minus 7? What you want to do is you want to plug it in. So this would be my x value and this would be my y value. You're going to take your x value and put it into your equation and your y value and put it into its spot into the equation. This gives you 13 equal to 10 times 2 minus 7. What you're going to do is you're going to do your arithmetic, kind of compute this out as you can. 13 you can't do anything with. You leave your equal sign. 10 times 2 gives me 20 and 20 minus 7 is 13. So instead of 20 minus 7, I'll put 13. Now what this tells you is, yes, we know that 13 equals 13. So this tells me that, yes, 2, 13 is a solution to this equation. If we had gotten a false statement, such as maybe 4 equal to 13, that is not true, so then we would say, no, it is not a solution to the equation. So in order to determine solution points, you're going to plug it in, do as much arithmetic as you can, and at the very end, see if you get a true statement. Same equation, let's try it again. This time we're going to use -1 for the x and -3 for the y. So again, you're going to put it -1 in for your x and -3 in for your y and see what happens. So -3 equals 10 times -1 minus 7. That would be -3 is equal to 10. Whoop, let me erase that. 10 times -1, I want to go ahead and do my multiplication first. Remember, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, order of operation. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Order of operation, you do parentheses, exponent, you multiply and divide left to right, and add and subtract. So that's why I want to do my 10 times -1 first. 10 times -1 is -10, then bring down your minus 7. -3 is equal to -10 minus 7 is -17. If you have any difficulties with your negatives, just grab your handy dandy calculator and help it to aid you in these computations as we go. Now -3 does not equal -17. That is not true. So since this is not true, we would say no, this is not a solution to this equation. Part 2. Sketch the graph of y equals 7 minus 3x. Now we're going to go further into it, so if you're pretty good with algebra, you may already be thinking something else. But what I want to do is kind of build upon what we did in part 1. If I want to sketch this graph, what we're going to do is we're going to create a table with x and y values. So instead of checking points to see if they work, now we're going to create points that do work. So I like to pick numbers that are really nice, like -1, 0, 1. Couple points are going to tell me an idea of what this is going to look like. So, just like you did in the previous slide, you're going to take this x value and you're going to plug it in to the equation. Now this time we're only plugging in one letter, so we're actually going to get a value to come out instead of just a statement. So over here to the side, I could say y equals 7 minus 3, and anytime I go to plug in for a letter, I always like to put in an empty bracket. I'm going to put in -1 here. So y, I can't do anything with, is equal to, again, you do your multiplication first, so -3 times -1, that gives me a positive 3, and then 7 plus 3 gives me 10. So I could put a 10 right here. So I know if the x value is -1, then the corresponding y value for this equation would be positive 10. You can do the same thing for 0. Y equals 7 minus 3, leave an open bracket, plug a 0 in there. So y is equal to 7 minus, let's see, -3 times 0, that's just 0. So we could say, you know, minus 0 or plus 0. It's not going to change anything. It's just going to give me y to be 7. And then your last one, you could say y is equal to 7 minus 3 and leave your open parentheses and put a 1 in there. So -3 times 1, that gives me -3. So now we're looking at y equals 7 minus 3. So that would leave me with 4. Now the whole reason that we're doing this is so that we can get some points to give us an idea to sketch this graph. Now we're not going to use graphing calculators, so you got to make sure you know how to find points on there and not rely on that tool that you will not be able to use within your exams and within your homework. So we're going to take these 3 points and you're going to graph them. So you take an XY axis, you say negative 110. I'm just going to kind of rough sketch this. Negative 110, 0, 7, and 1, 4, and this will give you an idea of a graph. I'm not going to leave you hanging. Let's check out a nicer graph.